right, today we are going to cook a Danish Christmas dessert with my friend Luna, who is actually from Denmark. So we're doing it real today on 196 flavors with a dessert from Denmark. I'm going to try to say it in French, which is it's actually a French word, Risalamande, but I prefer to have Luna say it in Danish French, maybe.
Hej alle sammen. Yeah, this is Risalamande. This is our way to say it.
So as you'll see, there's going to be rice, there's going to be almond as well, and we'll get cooking here. So to start, just to let you know, you're going to have all the measurements on the blog, but basically it's going to be a mixture of rice pudding, so pretty much arbor rice, which is risotto rice with milk, and this is already made for us. We'll explain how to make it, but we're also going to make the cherry sauce with some special Danish liqueur. The more the better, and we'll explain that later. But we'll get cooking for now. I'll let you start maybe with the almonds, and in the meantime I'll get the whipped cream going.
Okay, here we go. This is for the dessert. This is almond that have been blanched, and I'm going to chop them up except for one single almond that we put in the big bowl, and whoever gets it, I'm not allowed to say it until everything is finished. Then there's a prize. It can be anything you want it to be, but that's the whole thing, except for when you have children in the company. Then you have special bowls for them, and then almond for each of them, and then everybody gets something. Everybody are happy. First, I have cooked the rice with the milk and a little bit of water, pinch of salt, and a tiny bit of sugar. It is cooked so it is like a porridge, and then it's chilled. In this case, overnight, to be ready for us. Then I'm going to chop the onions, the almonds.
Let me see. No, they don't smell onions.
And we are going to take the vanilla, stick of vanilla, and scrape the corns out and put it into the porridge, the Risalamande, and mix everything together with the whipped cream when it's ready. And then we have a delicious, delicious dessert. It is dessert for Christmas Eve after you have the roast duck, sugar brown potatoes, red cabbage, and a delicious gravy, sometimes white potato. And
I think I'm going to try to get invited this Christmas.
And this is the way we celebrate our Christmas Eve in Denmark. Risalamande used to be just the plain rice cooked with milk, and we would have it the night before on lille juleaften, the day before Christmas, which is the 23rd, and we would have it and then cook a big portion to have that, and then leave the rest here for the day after when we mix it. In the old days, it used to be served before the dinner to sort of fill up people, so they wouldn't have too much they wouldn't eat too much meat.
Apparently, I was also reading that it's some variations of this dessert are made in Sweden and Norway as well, with different names. But the Danish made it fancy with a French name, actually.
Yeah, exactly. This is the best part of the vanilla. This is a grain of the vanilla, and you scrape it off like this, and then you take these ones afterwards, you put them in a jar with sugar, and you have delicious vanilla sugar for any occasions.
So we already have the rice pudding, which Luna prepared for us earlier. You'll have all the measurements on the blog, but it's typically between about 1 cup of rice for about 4 cups of milk, with some sugar as well. And we're going to add the vanilla in it, mix it, and the almond as well.
Anytime, yeah. And here's our whole almond. Not forget to keep it aside.
So the almond story is interesting. We have a similar story with the French galette des rois, or king's galette, where we put a little Jesus actually, but it's after Christmas. It's not on Christmas. It's a couple of weeks after for the Epiphany. So we actually have typical dessert, which this dessert is actually typically from Paris, and whoever has the fava, as we call it, he is the king, or one of the wise kings.
I've heard of it, yeah.
Yeah?
I've heard, yeah, I have.
So did you steal that from us as well?
I've only heard of it. I've seen it made by one of the French chefs on TV. So I was worried about the little figurine inside that's going to melt.
Yeah, no, it's made out of porcelain, typically.
Yeah.
Did you talk about the, so whoever has the almond, what do they
get a prize? Usually a little marzipan pig,
yeah.
little pink marzipan pig. But it's very hard to come by here in California. But in Denmark,
that's the tradition.
That's the tradition.
So do you have these desserts outside of Christmas, or is it pretty much once a year?
Seldom. Very
Yeah.
seldom. It's like a specialty, and that's why it's so delicious and so special to us, because it's only once a year.
Yep.
Just like the roast duck and the sugar brown potatoes and stuff like that. Alle jer i Danmark, der ser det. Skal ikke være jaloux. Vejret er ikke altid sådan, men mest af tiden.
I hope you did not insult me here.
No. I just said don't be jealous of the weather. It's mostly like this, but not all the time.
Not all the time.
But it is, close to Christmas, and we're still standing here, warm, nice. I think we should put this in now because it has to be mixed, and then we can.
Should we put everything in there, or?
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh yeah, it has to be a lot of
goodness in the whipped cream.
Whoops.
So in the meantime, we're gonna make the cherry syrup. We'll be back in a few minutes while Luna is making the cherry syrup for us.
Yeah. Okay, to make the sauce to put on top of the Risalamande, we have here cherries. We strain it and heat it up. And just drip it off here. Heat up the liquid. It has a slight, here we heat the liquid from the cherries. And we have a little bit of sugar in it. It all depending on the syrup the cherries are in. When it comes to a boil, you put the cornstarch in it. That is here with a little bit of water. After the whole thing is done, you put some cherry herring in it. Hver dansker ved, hvad det er. The best on the field. It's a good one. Just a tiny bit. If you give too much, the kids are going to sleep too much. So, that's it. And here we are almost boiling. Put the cornstarch in, and then the cherry so they don't get all mushed up. Very technical term. Oh, it's getting nice and thick. And then we turn it down a little bit. And now, a little bit, we can always put more. If you think you don't have enough sauce, you can always put a little bit of water in it to thin it up. Let's see what it tastes like. See, getting nice and plump, the cherries. And this is the consistency more or less you want. And serve it with the Risalamande just lukewarm, not hot or warm, just a little bit, so it's sort of, it's more tasty. And that's it, people. That's all there is to it. And we take it off and cools down until we're ready to eat.
All right, we're back. So Lune made the cherry sauce and with the syrup for us, as you can tell. So we used dark Morello cherries. So those are already in syrup. We strained the syrup, and Luna explained us how to make the cherry syrup with, obviously, this beautiful cherry herring.
Cherry herring, yeah.
From Copenhagen, actually.
Yeah, it is.
All right, so now we're gonna do the assembly.
Yeah. Mike is going to put the almond inside, the whole almond, even though today we are Today we are just serving in small glasses, portions. Normally you would put it in a bowl with just the right amount so people could finish it. And then there's always seconds to come on the table if anybody can eat more. So that's the way it goes today. If we get it, we get it. If not, not.
All right, so that is the assembly here. A couple spoonful of the rice pudding mixtures.
And then we have here was our...
Beautiful. And as Luna said earlier, this has to be eaten lukewarm.
Not too hot, but just so it's not stiff from being cold.
While she's assembling the Risalamande, I'm gonna get to the most important part, which is a little shot of cherry herring for us, one for you. And you're gonna have to explain us how we say cheers in Danish.
Skål!
Skål!
Og glædelig jul! Skål og glædelig jul!
Merry Christmas, everyone! We're gonna get to it in a minute. I hope you enjoy the show, and we'll see you, soon on 196 flavors.